Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to Everything Within podcast. I'm your host, Alina Krasnozhon. This podcast is all about empowering you to build an extraordinary, fulfilling life and tap into the limitless potential that resides within you. Thank you for tuning in today. In a world where our online presence has become as vital as our real-world identity, there is something we don't talk about enough. How to show up authentically while protecting our inner peace. I see it all the time. People swinging between extremes. On one side, there are those who completely quit social media, cutting off valuable connections and opportunities. On the other, there are those who become consumed by it, posting multiple times daily, chasing algorithms and achieving growth. But at what cost to their energy and creativity? Their mental health, their joy. I've been wondering, what if there is a middle path? What if we could harness the power of social media without letting it harness us? What if instead of choosing between complete disconnection and total immersion, we could create a sustainable presence that feels authentic, fun, and energizing rather than draining? Building a meaningful online presence doesn't have to mean sacrificing your energy, your boundaries, and your sanity. And yet, so many of us find ourselves caught in this exhausting reality of being always on, responding to every notification, feeling pressure to share every moment. But it doesn't have to be this way. Today, we're going to explore how to build a powerful online presence while keeping your energy protected, your boundaries intact, and your spirit alive. Being always on is a direct path to burnout, and I felt it firsthand. In today's episode, we'll talk about the power of setting up digital boundaries and why it's crucial. We will talk about how to protect your energy and inner peace while building an online presence. Whether you're a business owner, creator, or someone just trying to maintain a healthy relationship with social media, you will learn practical strategies to stay visible online without losing yourself and your soul in the process. We'll explore how to set clear boundaries with clients and audience, and most importantly, how to maintain your personal space while being visible online. And here's the good news. You don't need to quit social media to make it work, unless it's something you really want to do. So grab your coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's talk about how to thrive online while keeping your inner peace intact. Let's begin. You know, it's funny, until I was 23, I was basically a social media hermit. Back in the early 2000s, when most of my friends were deep into Vkontakte and other platforms, I was that person who'd only connect with anonymous profile, sharing music and connecting with friends from a safe distance. The thought of showing my real face or using my real name online, that was a hard no for me. There were many reasons for that, but I didn't start to uncover them until recently. Fast forward to 2018, and I decided to dip my toes into the Instagram world with a wine blog. But what started as a fun creative outlet quickly became an obsession with metrics. Every like, every follower count became this measure of my worth. I found myself caught in the trap we all know too well, measuring success by numbers rather than enjoyment and expressing myself. Eventually, I burned out and abandoned the whole thing. Then 2020 hit, and I faced a massive decision, leaving my corporate job to start my own business. Suddenly, social media wasn't just an option anymore. It was necessary for finding clients, for building my dream of working remotely. There I was, feeling completely lost and overwhelmed, trying to figure out how to put myself out there in a way that felt authentic but didn't consume me. It was one of the hardest things I have ever had to do. There was so much fear and resistance, but with time I realized it was pointing me exactly to what I needed to do back then. Often the thing you want to avoid the most is the thing that you need to do. Fear and resistance aren't your enemies. Think about the early days of social media. It was fun, light, a way to connect and share. But something shifted, didn't it? Especially for those of us who use social media professionally. What started as a tool for connection has become this constant pressure demanding our attention, our energy, our very essence. The invisible cost of this constant connectivity is staggering. These platforms are designed to hook us. They've spent millions studying our behavior, our primitive impulses, creating algorithms that keep us scrolling, searching for the next dopamine hit. We think these platforms are free, but we're paying with something far more precious than money: our energy, our peace of mind, our creativity, our ability to be present. Here is something crucial I want you to remember. Social media platforms are rented spaces. They can disappear anytime without explanation. Your page can be blocked, shadow banned, and it can be almost impossible to recover it. I saw it happening to lots of creators and business owners. That's why basing your entire business exclusively on social media isn't sustainable long term. Yes, it's a great starting point, but as we will explore later in this episode, there are more sustainable ways to build your online presence. Let's talk about the warning signs that your digital boundaries are eroding. Do you feel anxious when you're not responding immediately to messages? Do you have an urge to check likes and comments under your post every few minutes after you post? Do you find yourself checking notifications during your personal time? Do you struggle to distinguish between work and personal life online? If you're nodding along, you're not alone. I've been there. When I was just starting out my business, I'd constantly check my phone, thinking I was working, when I was really just distracting myself from the real work. Showing up authentically. I was consuming instead of creating. Building an audience should be one of your first priorities when you're starting out. Not spending months perfecting a website nobody will ever visit. Not creating products nobody knows exist. Not investing thousands of dollars in beautiful branding with zero audience to see it. If you're just starting out, perhaps the wisest investment isn't a fancy website, but working with a mindset or personal branding coach who can help you uncover what's truly holding you back. Someone who can help you get crystal clear on who you are and how you want to show up in this digital world. But if you can't afford the coach, finding an affordable community of like-minded people can be a great solution as well. Here is something I wish somebody had told me earlier. You don't need to have everything figured out before you start showing up online. In fact, clarity comes through action, not endless planning. The more you show up, the more you will understand who you truly are in this space, what type of content lights you up, what message you want to stand for, what impact you want to make. Don't hide behind busy work. Those comfortable tasks that feel productive but keep you safely hidden. Instead, do the scary thing. Show up, start sharing, start connecting. Yes, it will bring up all your limiting beliefs, I can promise you that. Yes, it will make you face your fears. And yes, you will be surprised by how much shit comes up when you finally step into visibility. But that's exactly where the growth happens. Not by doing endless planning and busy work that keeps you hidden, but by doing scary things you so desperately want to avoid. Remember, every single person you admire online started before they felt ready. They figured it out along the way, and so will you. While it's important to start before you're ready, it's equally important to start with intention. This is where I see so many new entrepreneurs stumble, myself included. We dive in with enthusiasm, but without boundaries, thinking that being always on equals being committed to growth. Here's what I learned works instead. First, disable all notifications from social media apps immediately. Post your content and go offline. Give yourself specific intentional times to check performance and engage with people. Maybe it's 10 minutes in the morning or 10 minutes in the evening. You need to learn to be very intentional with your time and how you use it. If you doubt, try a time tracking app for several days to track each day and how you use your time. You might be surprised. When you're doing research or checking what others are doing on socials, set a timer. Give yourself 20 to 30 minutes of intentional scrolling, then stop. But here's the crucial part. Pay very close attention to how consuming others people's content makes you feel. If you start comparing yourself, feeling unworthy because others seem to be living their dream life while you are not, remember this. Most of what you see online isn't real, and it might be a sign that you need to log out from social media and focus on other things instead. Maybe go outside, nurture your soul, take care of yourself, get bored, be still, feed your creativity instead. As often, scrolling through social media is the worst thing you can do to get inspired. I can tell you it from my own experience. I spent years copying others, following trends, creating content that didn't reflect who I truly was, all because so-called experts and coaches advised me to do it. It killed my creativity. I hated to put myself into the box, and it left me constantly searching for the next trend instead of turning inward and asking myself how I truly want to show up and what I want to stand for. Now you might be thinking, why not just quit social media altogether and focus on blogging, Medium, or Substack? While that works for some people, and I know several who've done it successfully, I don't believe it's the best solution for everyone, and here's why. First, social media platforms provide immediate two-way interaction that blogs simply can't match. They allow you to build genuine relationships, get real-time feedback, and understand your audience needs as they evolve. When someone comments on your Instagram post or reaches out via DM, it creates a personal connection that's harder to achieve through a blog comment section. Second, these platforms offer powerful discoverability features. While SEO can take months or even years to bring traffic to your blog or website, social media algorithms can help new people find you every single day. Your content can reach people who didn't even know they were looking for it, something that rarely happens with traditional blogging. Third, social media gives you versatility in content formats. You can share quick tips, behind-the-scenes glimpses, stories, reels, long-term content, videos, all ways to showcase different facets of your work and personality. This multimedia approach helps to connect with different audience preferences and learning styles. It helps to find a medium of expressing yourself that you love and that feels fun. Because let's be honest, not everybody can write 5-page blog posts, and not everybody enjoys writing. And it's absolutely crucial for you to enjoy the process of creating, at least a little bit. Otherwise, you will be forcing yourself daily. It will feel like a chore, and one day or another, you will burn out and quit the whole thing altogether, which is not the goal. Fourth, social proof. When potential clients or collaborators look you up, an active, engaging social media presence adds credibility to your work. It shows that you're current, connected, and consistently providing value to your community. And finally, social media platforms are where conversations happen. Yes, you should absolutely have your own website, blog, or newsletter. But social media is often where trends start, where movements begin, where ideas spread. Being part of these conversations can inspire your work and keep you connected to what matters to your audience. So the goal here isn't to quit, it's to learn to use these tools sustainably. It's about finding that sweet spot where you can harness the power of social media while protecting your energy and staying true to yourself. Think of it as a part of a broader digital ecosystem rather than your entire online presence. How you can actually start building healthy relationships with social media. Let's start with something we all experienced, the comparison trap. You know that moment when you're scrolling through your feed and suddenly you feel like everyone else has it figured out except you? That's not just you, it's universal experience. But here is what you need to remember. What you see online is curated, edited, and often represents someone's highlight reel, not someone's daily life, reality, and experience. Let's dive into practical strategies for mindful consumption, and I will share what worked for me after years of trial and error. First, let's talk about curating your feed intentionally. This is crucial because algorithms are powerful. They'll keep showing you more of what you engage with, whether it serves you or not. So having a clear intention when you open these platforms is like having a compass in a storm. It keeps you focused and prevents hours of mindless scrolling. But here is what I really want you to remember about content creation. You get to decide how you show up. This was a game changer for me. Don't feel pressured to make dancing videos just because they're trending, or do talking head videos if they make you uncomfortable. Your content should be an authentic reflection of who you are. It should be fun and feel good. Yes, you can push yourself a little bit sometimes to create something out of your comfort zone, but don't feel obliged to do it with every single piece of content you create. Often when you start building a momentum, create more and more, you will feel inspired to take more courageous action naturally, without effort, without discipline, without pushing yourself all the time. I've tried it all: writing posts, creating carousels, dancing videos, speaking videos. It took years of experimentation to discover what truly felt authentic to me. Now, I love creating video snapshots of my actual life, documenting my journey, and telling powerful stories through voiceovers that align with my podcast content. This approach means I have always something meaningful to share without spending hours scrolling for inspiration. I don't depend on trends or what others are doing. I do my own thing, and it feels fun, inspiring, and authentic. When you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, the answer isn't to push harder, it's to nurture yourself first. Give yourself love, validation, and approval you're searching for externally. Trust me, your content will flow more naturally when you're coming from this place of self-compassion and when you drop perfectionism. Now, let's talk about the practical sides of managing your social media presence sustainably. First, set specific times for engagement. This isn't about discipline, it's about respecting your energy. I recommend dedicating blocks of time for posting, engaging, and responding to comments. This prevents social media from bleeding into every moment of your day. Second, and it's vital, create a sustainable content strategy through batching and long-term content planning. When you have a primary content platform, whether it's a podcast like mine, a blog, or a YouTube channel, it becomes your content hub. Everything else can flow from there. It's like having a well that never runs dry. For example, one podcast episode can give you multiple social media posts, story highlights, quote graphics, behind-the-scene content, short-form video clips. This approach is so much more sustainable than trying to create new, original content for every platform every day. It still stinks sometimes when my posts don't perform that well, but I've redefined what success looks like to me. Instead of focusing solely on likes and follows, I measure success by how authentically I expressed myself. By celebrating the courage it took me to share a piece of content I really wanted to share, but I felt a lot of resistance towards. Whether I stayed true to my voice, the vulnerability and honesty in my sharing, the potential impact on even one person who needed to hear that message. Remember, external metrics aren't a definition of your worth or your work's value. What matters is expressing yourself in a way that feels genuine and aligned with who you are. And for God's sake, have some fun. When you create from this place of authenticity and self-compassion, social media transforms from a source of stress into a tool for connection and self-expression. Now let's talk about setting professional boundaries in the digital space. This might sound simple, but it's one of the most challenging aspects of building an online presence, especially when you're running a business. Let's start with client communication guidelines. Setting clear working hours and response time isn't just about organization. It's about respecting your energy and setting expectations from the start. Maybe for you that means no weekend response, no late night emails, or specific office hours. Whatever you choose, communicate it clearly and stick to it. Now here is something deeply personal I want to share about service boundaries. Because this is where many of us, myself included, really struggle. It touches directly on our self-worth and often triggers that scarcity mindset that whispers, If you say no now, they will find someone else. You will lose a client. You will never find another opportunity like this. I've been there, caught in that fear-based cycle of saying yes to everything, working extra hours without compensation, afraid that setting boundaries means losing opportunities. But here is what I've learned, and I'm still learning. Your energy and inner peace are your most valuable assets. Everything else flows from there. When you honor your boundaries, even if it means potentially losing a client or project, you're sending a powerful message to the universe about how you deserve to be treated. Yes, it comes with sacrifices sometimes. Yes, it can be scary. But what's more important than protecting your energy? So how to actually manage your audience expectations, particularly what you choose to share online? This is something I feel incredibly passionate about. You get to decide what parts of you and your life to share. You don't need to show your personal life if you don't want to. You don't need to share your family, your home, your traumatic experiences unless you consciously choose to do so. I've made a conscious choice about my own sharing. While I don't show much of my personal life now, though that might change in the future, I choose to be intentional about sharing my struggles, my journey, the things I've overcome. Why? Because I'm tired of the curated, sugar-coated content that dominates social media. Let me be really honest here. I'm exhausted by the fake promises, the perfect aesthetic feeds, the illusion that success comes quickly and easily. We all know it's not true, but these messages go viral because people desperately want to believe in quick fixes. They want to believe they can build $1 million business in 3 months, become an influencer overnight, be healthy and look good without ever exercising and taking care of their diet, and transform their lives without doing the hard work. But for most of us, it's years of trial and error, years of self-development, years of struggle and growth. And even when you've pushed through those struggles, there is still this pressure to present a perfect image of success. I refuse to participate in that illusion. That's why I choose to keep it real. I'm not better than anyone else out there. Everyone can build the life they want to or live happier if they commit to doing so. Yes, it can be simple, but it's rarely easy. It requires brutal honesty with yourself while simultaneously accepting yourself exactly as you are right now. It requires to be patient with yourself, to practice self-acceptance. Don't wait for some imaginary future moment to be happy. Your life is happening right now. Learn to enjoy doing hard things. Learn to find joy in the journey. Learn to appreciate what you are doing in this moment. It's crucial. As for handling unsolicited advice and messages on social media, remember this: you don't owe anyone a response. You can create filters, use autoresponders, or simply choose not to engage with messages that don't serve you. Your digital space is yours to protect. So how to maintain your personal space while being visible online? This isn't about hiding, it's about intentional sharing. First, let's dive to the art of selective sharing. This is where knowing yourself becomes absolutely crucial. Because before you think about strategy or what's trending, you need to get crystal clear on your core values, how you want to show up online, what lights you up, what breaks your heart, why you want to share what you share. But don't spend months figuring it out. Always start before you're ready. If showing up online is the scariest thing you can do now, do it. Do it before you're ready. Do it now, and you will figure other things out as you go. It's not always about the strategy or constantly trying to figure out what others want from you. We're all exhausted by traditional marketing and what these so-called gurus are trying to sell us. You know the type. Sometimes they don't even have a strong online presence themselves, but they're trying to sell you the secret formula to success. Let me be really direct here. If someone with 50 followers is trying to sell you a course about how to grow online, that should raise some red flags. The most powerful marketing strategy being your own case study. Show up as a person you would want to attract. Let your actions and authenticity speak louder than any sales pitch. Now let's talk about creating a buffer zone between your real life and your posted life. This is crucial for sustainability. You don't need to document every moment of your day with 20 stories, unless that truly feels effortless and authentic to you. Remember, just because you can share something doesn't mean you should. Think of it like this: your life is a book, and your social media presence is like choosing which parts to share with your readers. You don't need to include every single page. Sometimes the most powerful stories come from thoughtful curation and reflection. When it comes to protecting your private life while maintaining authenticity, here is what I've learned. Authenticity doesn't mean sharing everything. It means being true to your values in what you choose to share. You can be completely genuine while still maintaining healthy boundaries. For example, you might choose to share your professional journey while keeping your personal relationships private. Talk about your success and struggles without revealing intimate details. You can show your work process without showing your home. You can share your message without sharing your location. What about parasocial relationships? These are one-sided relationships where followers feel they know you intimately because of what you share online. While it's wonderful that people connect with your content, it's essential to maintain clear boundaries. Here are some strategies I've found helpful. Regularly remind your audience that they are seeing a curated portion of your life. Be clear about your professional relationship versus personal one. Don't feel obliged to respond to every message or every detail people ask for. Create clear guidelines for yourself about what aspects of your life are off limits for sharing. If sharing certain aspects of your life feels heavy or uncomfortable, that's your sign to reassess and adjust your boundaries. You don't owe anyone access to your entire life. You get to choose what parts of your story to share. Now let's bring everything together and talk about creating sustainable digital boundaries that will serve you long term. This isn't about setting rigid rules, it's about creating a framework that protects your energy while allowing you to show up authentically online. Let's start with creating your digital boundary framework. First, you need to identify your non-negotiables. These are your absolute must-haves for maintaining your well-being while being online. Take a moment and ask yourself, what makes you feel drained when you're online? What activities energize you? What time of the day do you do your best work? What types of interactions leave you feeling depleted? For me, for example, some non-negotiables include no social media first thing in the morning and before going to bed. No responding to messages outside of designated hours. Regular digital detox days. Protected time for creating content without any distractions, without checking what everyone else is doing, without endless scrolling to get inspired, but just creating. Now let's talk about establishing routine check-ins with yourself. This is crucial because boundaries aren't static. They need to evolve as your needs change. Set aside time regularly, maybe weekly or monthly, to ask yourself, how am I feeling about my online presence? Are my current boundaries serving me? What's working well and what needs adjustment? Am I maintaining a healthy balance between sharing and preserving my energy? You can also use technology to support your boundaries. This might include using app timers to limit social media use, setting up do not disturb modes during focused work, creating separate profiles for personal and professional use. You can also try to leave your phone in another room when you're working. Using scheduling tools to maintain consistent posting without being constantly online. It never really worked for me personally. It feels kind of robotic, and sometimes I want to be more spontaneous with my content. In addition to this, many of these scheduling apps are quite expensive, but feel free to try it if you want. Planning at least 1 week of content in advance is good. This way, you can avoid spending all your mental energy on deciding what to post every day and focus on other more important things. The consistency of maintaining your boundaries is important because every time you bend or break your own boundaries, you're sending a message both to yourself and others that these boundaries are optional. It's like building a muscle. The more consistently you maintain your boundaries, the stronger they become. There will be times when your boundaries are tested or violated. Maybe a client messages you at midnight expecting an immediate response, or someone leaves an inappropriate comment on your post. What important is handling these situations gracefully while staying firm in your boundaries. Here is how you can try to handle boundary violations effectively. Respond, don't react. Take a deep breath before responding to any boundary violation. Be clear and kind. Restate your boundary without apologizing or having it. Use it as a teaching moment. Often people aren't aware they're crossing a line. Adjust if needed. Sometimes violations show us where we need to be clearer about our boundaries. Remember this, maintaining boundaries isn't about building walls. It's about creating healthy filters that allow the right things in while keeping the draining elements out. Your boundaries are a form of self-respect. And when you respect yourself, others naturally follow it. Most importantly, be compassionate with yourself as you build and maintain these boundaries. It's okay to adjust them as you learn and grow. The goal isn't perfection, it's creating a sustainable online presence that enriches your life rather than depletes it. As we wrap up this episode, remember this: your online presence should radiate your authentic energy, light up your soul, and create meaningful connections. When you align your digital boundaries with your values, your content flows naturally, your message reaches the right people, and your energy stays protected. 3 simple steps to begin your journey towards a more sustainable online presence. First, audit your notifications. Keep only what truly serves you. Second, create dedicated time blocks to content creation and engagement without any distractions. And third, check in with yourself daily. Does your online presence energize or drain you? And think about why. Your digital journey should spark your joy, fuel your creativity, and amplify your impact. Trust your intuition, honor your energy, and let your authentic voice shine through. Keep shining bright and creating with purpose. You've got this. Until the next time, bye!